In the sprawling, chaotic tapestry of American history, few figures loom as large and as paradoxical as John Herbert Dillinger. Born in 1903 amid the industrial grid of Indianapolis, Dillinger's life story is part crime saga, part myth, and part cultural mirror. Emerging from the desperation of the Great Depression, he would become America's most infamous bank robber, an outlaw who transcended his crimes to become a symbol of rebellion, a figure equal parts celebrity and cautionary tale. But to call him a Robin Hood would be a mistake. Dillinger was no champion of the poor. His legend was not forged in acts of altruism, but in the dazzling audacity of his exploits and his ability to capture the public's imagination like few criminals before him. Today we embark on a journey through the rise and fall of this complex character, uncovering how his troubled upbringing, his masterful escapes, and the federal manhunt that ended his life together shaped not only his era but also the future of American law enforcement. John Dillinger's early years were marked by hardship and loss. Raised in a working-class family, the death of his mother when he was just 5 left a void that strict paternal discipline could not fill. His father's rigid approach bred rebellion rather than respect. As a boy, Dillinger was impulsive, distrustful of authority, and prone to mischief. By his teenage years, he had dropped out of school and drifted through a series of unremarkable jobs. His youthful defiance gradually escalated from petty pranks to theft. In 1924, after a failed attempt to rob a grocery store, he was sentenced to prison. This moment, rather than breaking him, became his crucible. Prison was a harsh world, but for Dillinger, it was also an unexpected education. At Michigan City, he encountered hardened criminals whose experience went beyond petty crime. They were seasoned bank robbers and escape artists who treated incarceration not as punishment, but as preparation. Dillinger absorbed their methods and mindsets, evolving from a small-time crook into a professional outlaw. When he was released in 1933, the United States was mired in the depths of the Great Depression. Banks were distrusted and failing, and millions faced economic ruin. Into this fractured landscape stepped Dillinger, ready to make his mark. His early robberies combined careful planning with theatrical flair. Dillinger didn't simply rob banks, he performed. He commanded attention, barked orders, and executed his heist with a mix of precision and bravado. Stories circulated, whether true or myth, of him destroying mortgage records during robberies. A symbolic act that, true or not, painted him as a folk avenger against financial oppression. His gang was made up of men like himself, criminals with specialized skills. Together, they operated almost like a well-oiled machine. Violence was not their objective, and victims were often treated with surprising courtesy. If Dillinger's robberies earned him infamy, his escapes earned him immortality. The most legendary occurred in Lima, Ohio. Surrounded and locked up, Dillinger carved a wooden pistol and stained it to look real. With nerves of steel, he bluffingly confronted his captors, seized their weapons, and walked free. The image of a man outsmarting the system with nothing but a fake gun in sheer bravado electrified the nation. This was no mere criminal. This was a figure who embodied escape, defiance, and the idea that the system could be beaten. The public was captivated. Law enforcement humiliated. By 1934, Dillinger was more than a criminal. He was a national phenomenon. J. Edgar Hoover, then director of the Bureau of Investigation, seized on Dillinger's notoriety to push through reforms that transformed the agency into the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The FBI gained expanded jurisdiction, new powers, and a mandate to pursue fugitives across state lines. Dillinger's pursuit became a public contest between a single man and a burgeoning federal force. He represented everything Hoover sought to extinguish: lawlessness, charisma, and the challenge to federal authority. Yet the outlaw's luck began to unravel. His heist grew riskier, violence escalated, and his circle of accomplices dwindled. Injuries and desperate measures followed. Dillinger even sought plastic surgery in a crude attempt to erase his identity. But the Bureau had tightened the net, leveraging informants and undercover agents. The final act was as cinematic as any Hollywood thriller. Anna Sage, a Romanian immigrant and brothel owner, facing deportation, made a deal with federal agents. She agreed to identify Dillinger at the Biograph Theater, where he came to watch Manhattan melodrama on July 22, 1934. Sage's orange dress was the signal. At 10:50 p.m., as Dillinger exited, federal agents opened fire. A bullet struck him just below the eye, ending the manhunt. The outlaw who had outwitted police and captured the imagination died quietly, without firing a shot. Dillinger's death was more than the fall of a criminal. It was a watershed moment for American law enforcement. Hoover capitalized on the victory, transforming the FBI into a powerful national force with sweeping authority. The tools used to capture Dillinger, surveillance, infiltration, lethal force, would shape federal policing for decades. But Dillinger's legacy is complicated. Conspiracy theories suggest he survived, and his persona became immortalized in films, music, and popular culture. He is remembered as both villain and anti-hero, a symbol of individual resistance against institutional failure. His story forces us to ask challenging questions about society. Do we celebrate morality or magnetism? Do we admire rebellion for its promise of change or for its entertainment value? John Herbert Dillinger was neither hero nor villain in a simple sense. He was a product of his time, shaped by poverty, hardened by incarceration, and propelled into legend by a nation in crisis. His heists robbed banks, but his greatest theft was securing a permanent place in the American imagination. Nearly a century later, the questions he raised about power, fame, resistance, and justice remain as relevant as ever. Dillinger's tale is a mirror, reflecting our fears, our fantasies, and our enduring struggle with the fragile notion of justice. Thanks for watching. If you found this exploration into the life of John Dillinger insightful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our world. Share your thoughts below. What do you think drives the public's fascination with figures like Dillinger?